Bread baskets and trays. A very popular style of bread service is serving bread using a basket or tray. In this style of service, the bread is not placed onto the table, but is rather presented to the guest. This way, you are inviting the guest to make a choice and select the bread that looks most delicious to them. You are presenting the bread and offering it to your guests, and they will simply take the bread with their hands. You can also serve the bread using tongs. We'll look at the following steps. Step 1. Fetch the bread accompaniments. Step 2. Present and serve the bread. And lastly, Step 3. Clear the bread accompaniments. Let's start with Step 1. Fetch the bread accompaniments. Make sure that you have placed the bread accompaniments, such as butter, olive oil, and balsamic vinegar onto the table if they weren't already there. This must come before the bread is served. Moving on to Step 2. Present and serve the bread. Present the bread to the guest. That is, explain what type of bread it is. When doing this, use words that will make the bread sound good to eat. For example, crispy, warm, and fresh. Don't go overboard, but use one or two sparingly. If your guests are in the middle of a conversation when you want to present the bread, rather than interrupting them, place one of each type of bread onto their side plate. This way, they will be able to continue their conversation and will also be able to choose which bread they would like to enjoy. Since you obviously can't use your hands to touch the guest's bread, ensure that you have a pair of tongs at hand to do so. So, by now you know where the side plate is on the setting, and you know what open body language is. From which side do you think will serve the guest? Let's see what happens when you serve from the right. But if you serve from the left, like this, it's easy for the guest to move the bread from the tray to the side plate. So, when serving bread from a tray, offer the guest the bread from their left-hand side, as this allows them to place it onto their side plate easily. Remember to hold the bread in your left hand when serving from the left, so that you have good, open body language towards your guest. Depending on how the tables in your restaurant are laid out, it might not be possible to serve from the guest's left-hand side. For example, if the table is against the wall. In this case, it is best to serve from the right. Make sure that when this is the case, that you still hold the bread in your left hand and tongs in your right. Lastly, Step 3. Clear the bread accompaniments. The procedure is the same as with bread service on the table. When guests are finished with their bread, just as with the table service of bread, offer them some more bread. If they decline, make sure to remove the butter, olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and side plates from their table to create more space. It might happen that guests change their mind and ask for more bread when you have already removed the side plates and bread accompaniments. If this happens, simply bring them some more bread, side plates, olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and butter. This applies across all styles of bread service, in that if your guests request to have bread at a later stage, simply bring them what they are asking for in the particular style of service that you are offering. So, to recap, the 3 steps for serving bread from a tray are Step 1. Fetch the bread accompaniments. Step 2. Present and serve the bread. And Step 3. Clear the bread accompaniments.